been 20 years since the top 5 fantasy scoring tight ends have all been in their 20s. It's pretty incredible. Back then, in 2005, you had Antonio Gates, Todd Heap, and Jeremy Shockey, all 25 years old, top 3. If you were in a dynasty league, you knew what you were getting, or you knew what you had if you drafted them 2 years earlier or more in some cases. You were getting guys who were in their prime, who were great, and probably would be good to great for several years to come. And then rounding out the top 5, Chris Cooley, I think he was 23. Algie Crumpler was 27 or 28. That hasn't happened since. Fast forwarding a little bit to 2015, Gary Barnidge, Delanie Walker, Greg Olson, all in their 30s. The next year after that, Jimmy Graham, Delanie Walker, Greg Olson, again, all in their 30s. And then eventually getting to 2019, where Travis Kelce turns 30 and he is elite. And we've been in this kind of rare moment. I think Tony Gonzalez was in a similar kind of camp of being in his 30s and still being elite. Tony Gonzalez was a once in a generation, multi-generation talent. Kelce is right alongside him, perhaps better, perhaps the same. But Kelce started that run of just being great into his 30s. In fact, 2019, his age 30 season, the top 5 were him, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Zach Ertz, and Mark Andrews. There's been a lot of consistently great talent. Those names, with the exception of Waller, have continued to surface and resurface over the years. And in 2019, those were the top 5. You knew what you were getting. Even when Kelce turned 30, the others were in their 20s, and there was a sense that all of them could be great for years to come. Well, now we're in this really interesting moment when there is this generational shift with fantasy tight ends. And it could be that this year is the first time in 20 years that no tight end age 30 or above is in the top 5 currently, or, going into last night. Trey McBride, age 25, is number 1. Jake Ferguson, age 26, number 2. Tyler Warren, age 23, was number 3. Tucker Kraft, obviously out for the season, age 25, number 4. And Kelce sat at number 5. I don't think that's going to continue. We might well see Brock Bowers, age 22, who's leading fantasy in points per game. He's just had the misfortune of missing some time, could creep up easily into the top 5 in overall scores. And then you would have 5 guys 26 years old or younger, first time maybe in many decades, not just 20 years, that has happened. This is a really unique time for tight ends. We are seeing the passing of a generation, we call it a mini generation, of tight ends. The Travis Kelces, the George Kittles, the Mark Andrews, certainly Zach Ertz. And we're seeing this new crop. This is why, and it's really interesting, if you were in a dynasty league, there's some predictability, but it's not as easy as it seems, obviously, because some of us have gone through this, to spot that tight end at age 22, where you draft them in a all rookie draft, and you're good for the next 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, Sam Laporta looked like the guy after his rookie year, and then his second year, big letdown. So now you don't really know what you're getting from Laporta. What is his mean? What is his average? Is he going to be a perennial top 5? Maybe not. So it's not, Dalton Kincaid was, I think, the first tight end drafted, I forgot, 4 years ago, something like that. And was expected to kind of break through and be a dominant force, maybe a Travis Kelce-esque talent for Josh Allen in Buffalo. Hasn't happened yet. It might still happen. Kelce didn't really become Travis Kelce due to injuries and just, the time he entered the league until he was, 25 years old, 26 years old, something like that. So if it is very, very difficult to time these things right. Kyle Pitts, anyone who invested in Kyle Pitts, thinking they had a surefire, perennial, the next Antonio Gates kind of player, have been sadly disappointed. But I just wanted to take a moment in this podcast to talk about that we're in this really unique moment in history for fantasy tight ends, and that it is quite possible that it will be tough for other tight ends for the next several years to break through in the same way that for several years, guys like Kelsey and Ertz and Kittle were, at or near the top. And it was very hard for younger guys to break through. It meant that if you were in a rookie draft and you drafted a rookie tight end, you might not see an elite tight end out of that player for years because those other guys were locked in at the top. Well, now we have this youth movement where it might be very difficult for rookie tight ends over the next few years to break through the top 5 because these guys at the top are talented enough to keep it going and young enough to keep it going. I'm BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog, email me anytime. See you tomorrow.